Hello people of the internet, I'm Nobody, and today I'm gonna talk about Sonic Generations, which is probably my favorite 3D platformer, not just of Sonic, but the entire genre. I love this game more than I love myself. I received the game on Christmas of 2012 for the PlayStation 3. And I said to my brothers I was playing through Green Hill Zone Act 2 that I will never get bored of this game, and he answered, "You're gonna get bored of it in 2 weeks." And here I am, almost 10 years later, after its original release on November 1st, 2011, putting at least 1,000 hours in the PS3 version, because for the longest time I didn't have a computer powerful enough to run this game well, therefore I couldn't play any mods. So after getting 100%, I just perfected my runs of every level, mostly the Act 2 of every zone. Just wanted to make it really clear that I am really biased towards this game. So if you expected some kind of objective review, then good luck finding it, because those things don't exist. So, without further ado, I present to you this review where I will try to explain why I love this game so much and how does the level design and controls make for an excellent piece of software that everyone should play not once, not twice, but thrice. I'm gonna start with the bad and then work our way up to the amazing stuff that this game has. The story. The story in Sonic Generations is just an excuse to justify all the past levels and locations being present. In summary, after Sonic Colors, with Dr. Eggman drifting in space after his defeat in Terminal Velocity, he stumbles upon a deity called Time Eater that can erase time and space. He uses it to destroy time and merge what remains of said space in this white nothingness. The Time Eater appears in Sonic's birthday party and kidnaps everyone, except for Sonic. It's kinda stupid to leave Sonic behind, but okay. He wakes up and the game begins. After the first boss, you find out that there are 2 Sonics and 2 Tails. To get to the final boss, you find out that there are 2 Eggmans, so the 2 Super Sonics defeated 2 Eggmans. They go and celebrate and Sonic lies to himself. So as you can see, the story is so simple that it did not even took me 2 minutes to explain. And that's not a bad thing. I'm just trying to bring to your attention that this is the weakest part of the game. The story could have not been there and you could have justified the level progression with it's just a celebration of Sonic's history. Doesn't need to make sense. Who cares that Chris's City is here, even though it technically never happened? And speaking of level progression, it works like this. You have this mini hub world where you can select all the levels and bosses just by standing in front of them and tilting up on the left stick. Act 1 is Classic Sonic and Act 2 is Modern Sonic. After clearing 3 zones, you have to beat 3 challenges, 1 on each zone, to get a key and open the gate to the boss of that area. In the first area, the boss is the DeathTech robot, then Perfect Chaos, and in the last area is the X-Dragoon. Additionally, one of the zones in the area will contain a rival battle. In the first area is Metal Sonic, and the second one is my favorite boss fight in the game, Shadow. I think more Sonic games should use racing as a boss fight setting. And the third zone is Silver, with the final boss being the Time Eater using the 2 Super Sonics. I don't really like this boss fight that much. It's your standard Super Sonic with new mechanics that you gotta learn on the fly. They always do this for some reason. I guess it's because it's really hard to come up with ideas to integrate Super Sonic's flight into the already existing moveset for normal Sonic. The story structure is reminiscent of the classic games, with the only difference being that this one has voice acting. The voice acting is good. I personally don't like the voice of Roger Craig Smith as Sonic. I'm more of a Jason Griffith kind of guy, but admittedly, Roger does a good job here. Now let's move on to Classic Sonic, the fun novelty that gets boring after a few levels. It's not bad. Hell, if Sonic Mania didn't exist, this will be the closest we will get to a one-to-one recreation of the classic games. After Sonic Advance, of course. But thankfully, we don't live in that dystopia, and unfortunately, the controls and physics are the only bad thing dragging this half of the game down, because the level design for Classic Sonic is really solid, not as good as the originals I was trying to emulate, but it has all the tropes of those games' level design. With diverging paths, the fastest being the one on the top and the slowest on the bottom, and gimmicks unique to every zone. I really like the use of the pink wisp in Planet Wisp, and the skateboard in City Escape. The controls are weird compared to the Genesis games. The jump feels nice, and the acceleration is okay, but everything else is just wrong. Like the way you can use spin dash without having to stop. You don't even need to press down anymore, it's just a boost button, but you stop for half a second before using it. And the momentum is basically non-existing. You don't get a lot of momentum from rolling down slopes anymore. Maybe that's why the spin dash is so strong. Without it, I think you would get stuck on some levels. If it wasn't from the numerous boost pads, of course. They're not as atrociously placed as in Sonic Forces, or God forbid, Sonic 4, but they're here. Although in this game, they're present in moderation, which is good. The music is remarkable. The only bad thing I can say about the OST is the lack of original tracks. It's just remixes, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is a trip down memory lane after all, but a new vocal theme by Crush 40 would have been really nice. I mean, Sonic Youth, released a little bit after Generations, which is essentially what I expected this hypothetical Sonic Celebration song to be. Can someone mod the game and put that song in the final battle or the credits? please? Thank you. Now back to the remixes themselves. They're great. I personally really like the Seaside Hill Act 2 and how they incorporated Ocean Palace in the latter half of the song, but the remixes of Act 1 are better in general. I don't know, the way they're trying to imitate the Sega Genesis sound chip with this techno is fantastic. Just listen to this Big Highway remix. But the modern ones are not bad, they just sound too similar to the original. In fact, let's play a game. I'm going to play Crisis City, you have to guess from which game it is, Sonic 06 or Generations. Time's up, and the answer is Sonic 06. To be fair, not every single remix is that similar. The Rooftop Run remix makes the violins a lot more prevalent throughout the piece in comparison to the Unleashed version, which depends more on the guitar. That's my only real complaint with the OST, really solid but lacking on originality. And now my favorite part of the game, Modern Sonic. I'll be referring to Modern Sonic as just Sonic from now on, cause Modern Sonic sounds really stupid. Sonic plays just as his last two mainline games before Generations, those being Unleashed and Colors, but generally feels a lot more like an evolution of Unleashed. What I mean by this is that it has a mixture of 2D and 3D platforming at high speed, where you can use the boost to acquire ludicrous amounts of it at the push of a button. And at first glance, that seems like a bad idea, just giving the player something that in past games you will earn naturally by playing better. Some people don't like this gameplay style, saying that it's brain dead, or just boost to win. I know that this is mostly just exaggerations, and I would agree with said exaggerations if I have only played for like 2 hours. Because the level design seems really basic if you're just trying to get to the gold ring. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, a casual playthrough can still be truly enjoyable, but when you actually try playing the game as I think the developers wanted you to play it, it becomes almost an entirely different beast. I'll try describing it with words. I'm going to let the game talk for itself for a moment.
Here we go!
So, as you can see, for the first 30 seconds of my gameplay through Crisis City Act 2, I used a lot more than just the boost button. I used careful and precise platforming, using the terrain to my advantage, trying to cut off as many seconds as I can. So in other words, I speedrun the way this game is meant to be played, or most Sonic games for that matter. The game even tells you near a checkpoint if you're a few seconds behind, or at record pace. I conducted a little experiment with my brother. We played through Green Hill Zone Act 2. My brother is good at video games, and he has beaten Sonic Generations once, like 5 years ago, so I expected his skill level to be that of a person that watched a few videos before playing the game. My purpose with this test is to make you see the great level design that this game has. For example, you're starting, a beginner will just fall down after the first ramp, while someone has played this section before will just boost right above the pit. And the second area, the novice will just attack the enemies and use the spring to get on the rail, while the expert will use the giant ring to avoid the enemies entirely, and if he wants he can even ignore the spring and use a faster route for boosting in the air towards this platform. I know what you're probably thinking, something along the lines of, bro, this is literally every platformer game ever made. If you get good at them, you will probably beat the level faster. And yes, that is true, but I just personally think that Sonic Generations is one of the few games that actually wants the player to keep replaying the game to the point where they can finally enjoy the thrill of being Sonic the Hedgehog, something that most players won't bother doing. Another example is in the first seconds of Seaside Hill Act 2. A first timer will just run through the middle and get through the ruins with minimal problem. In his second playthrough, most likely he will go to the left using the pillars and badniks as platforms to get to the upper part of the ruins. But if you explore the level thoroughly, you will realize that there's an even faster way, and that is going through the water to this canyon and landing on top of the roof of said ruins. And that is something that you will probably never see if you only play the level once. That's why you should play every level at least 3 times. You will never know what you may find. And now the nitpicks, where I complain about small things that nobody cares. The rank system is really lenient. Even my brother that played okay in the footage I showed you earlier got an S rank only for not dying. I think the way it worked in Unleashed was better. You actually had to try and get good at the game to get an S rank. Why doesn't Classic Sonic talk? It's really weird saying Classic Tails talk but not Classic Sonic. Make both of them talk or none of them. And finally, why does the doppelganger challenges exist? They're so easy, they might as well just say beat the level again, but with this bar on top of the screen. And that's it. If you sat through all of that, thank you very much. If you got any suggestions, please leave in the comments. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time when I'll talk about whatever I feel like talking about next. Goodbye.